And we are back with more Frostpunk 2. Hey folks, my name is Pravus. Last time we played this game on the channel, we were playing through the main campaign on maximum difficulty, going for the best possible ending, and we did achieve that goal. After a break from the game, I'm now ready to jump back into things with the Utopia Builder and try out Endless Mode for the first time. Now, obviously, this is going to be quite different from the main story mode because there's no narrative pushing us along, but just as importantly, we do not know what the map is going to look like, what resources we're going to have access to, nor can we plan around certain events. In fact, if we play things correctly, we could avoid a civil war entirely. I'm going to try to make this a deathless run if I can, but we have to be flexible, and that's what's going to make this a fun run. Now, there are 7 different maps that are available in Endless Mode. The last 3 are actually based on the campaign, so we're going to avoid these since we've basically already seen them. We have Windswept Peaks, the Fractured Gorge, Broken Shore, and Horizon available to us. I think the Fractured Gorge could be a pretty fun map. Now, this one is a little bit on the smaller side. It does have geothermal deposits, but otherwise not a lot of fuel to go around, which is obviously quite scary. Let's give that one a go. Now, in Endless Mode, there are also 3 different ambitions you are trying to fulfill. Colonizing the Frostland is one, and then you'll have to have like 4 colonies actually operating at a time. We could also develop a metropolis, or we could stockpile massive amounts of resources. I'm gonna go for Colonize the Frostland, because I think this could be kind of fun for us. Then we can also choose up our community makeup. We can start with the Forgers and Machinists, which is probably the most like having the Frostlanders and the New Londoners from the campaign. And then you will have a 3rd random community, whether you like it or not. We could also go for the Thinkers and Lords, or we could go for the Laborers and Merchants. Let's try the Thinkers and the Lords. That sounds like a fun social dynamic. And of course, we will be bumping this up to Captain difficulty once again. It's time for a new beginning. The end of the world changes people. It changed us. We have the Thinkers, educated urbanites who believe we need rational inquiry to reform society. The Lords, self-proclaimed heirs to distinguished lions and guardians of traditional duties. And it looks like our random community is going to be the Foragers. All right, so we have a lot of adaptability built in. There's a couple different ways that you can approach this game. We could try to avoid a civil war entirely and make everyone happy, or we could try to intentionally antagonize and trigger a civil war to force an entire community out of the city early on. That's a bit riskier, though. We're going to try to be peaceful if we can. A dream of utopia. The work of building a promised land begins. This is very much the standard setup here. We don't have a lot of resources. We need a council, etc., etc. Now, this is a pretty nice-looking map, though, ain't it? We're building our city right on the edge of a very precarious cliff. I mean, who even knows where this abyss leads? What kind of resources do I have to work with? All right, we've got prefabs over here, steam vent, lots of food in one area, lots of materials in one area, more steam, more prefabs, coal over here, but again, not a lot of coal. Do we have any windswept areas? We do, up over here. Okay, so if this is exposed to wind, we don't want to build over here anytime soon. What about over here? I don't see anything. What about over... Okay, so this area is bad too. All right, looking for areas where I can just kind of go for lots of good heat generation. There's nothing that's protected from the wind, which is going to be a little bit irritating, but okay. So on Captain difficulty, first thing we always do is beg for money. Let's go ahead and raise some funds from everybody. We know we need that. And then I'm also going to immediately build up the council hall with the hope that I will be able to get some extra money from some laws, or maybe some extra prefabs. All of the above wouldn't be too bad. Let's plan out some frost breaking. I know I need access to these prefabs early on, so we'll go ahead and break that up. And if I can free up the food over here, that won't be too bad for us. And then I will want the materials. Is that a high priority? Maybe not yet. The coal certainly is a high priority, though, so let's go ahead and plan on that. I don't necessarily need this infinite coal deposit yet. We can afford to wait on that one. I believe in Endless Mode, you actually will be able to get the infinite sources as well as establish outposts, which is something you were not able to do in the campaign. So we're going to have a lot of options for us. Let's go ahead and get this unlocked just so we have access to all of these materials, and then we need to think a bit about some housing. Now, with housing, we could go ahead and build up 5 different areas right now, 5 districts. Little on the expensive side. Also, I'm going to need to expand them. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to build up some districts, and I'm going to build up 3 of them, leaving some space to intentionally expand them, then we'll come back to it. It's okay if you have a little bit of a deficit in shelter, as long as the cold need stays at minor, right, and doesn't get up to anything notable, you're actually okay. So we can leave a few people out in the cold, and it's not that big of a deal. You might be wondering, why am I going to be building this over here? I could save this for some extra heat. That is certainly true, but here's my thought process, and maybe a dumb thought process, but it's what we're going with. If I place this along here, right, if I had placed a new district here, what would I get? 20 heat from being near the city. But if I place it along like this, and now I place a new district like this, I get 20 heat here, and I'll be able to get 20 more heat here, so that seems like 40 heat to me, which seems like maybe this is actually a better way to go. I don't know if that's true, but that's kind of what I'm working with. So I'm going to start by building out some districts kind of like this, leaving some space for a hub on the off chance we can make use of that in the future. Not that hubs are the end-all be-all, but in the late game, they can be quite helpful. So 3 of those is good enough for the moment. There's nothing else I think that I want to build quite yet. So let's just go ahead and start speeding through. Now, I know that whiteouts are a thing in endless mode, so we are going to have to be careful about that. But maybe we'll be all right. We can, by the way, turn on the overdrive over here just to save us a little bit of coal, and I guess I will. Let's go to Council. So Council is now open for business. We can do a bit of early voting. I'm thinking that going for the basic necessities and paid essentials would make some sense. Production efficiency going up and heat stamp income going up is great because heat stamps are going to be a major bottleneck for us at the beginning of the game. I could negotiate for this a little bit, though. If I were to negotiate with the foragers, they want durable goods and expedition support. I am going to do durable goods very early on, so this is a very safe promise for me to make. I think we will do that. Is there anyone else I also want to negotiate with? I probably don't have to. Family apprenticeship. Honestly, might be something I'm going to do regardless, but let's actually save that for a future vote. This should pass. Yeah, easily. Okay, so a little bit of extra heat stamps is great for me. We have finished with the frost breaking, so we're going to immediately go for some extraction districts. I want these prefabs, and I want them now. I also really want to get my coal production up and running. We can pick these up. I can do an expansion and pick up these 3. If I had one more frost break, I actually could pick this up too. Oh, am I being stupid for this? I might be being stupid for this. All right, let's do one more frost break up there, and then go ahead and start working our way up toward this logistics point right here. One more frost break after that, and we'll be able to set that up. Early scouting might be my saving grace in this game. If we can find an early deposit of coal to bring back to the city, that solves a lot of fuel needs for a very, very long time. If we don't do that, well, we might be doomed. Now, I do want to get the food production up and running. Probably sooner rather than later, though I also need to get my goods going with industry. Maybe we could set up a decent area along here for an industrial district. I think that might be a good idea. And then we'll get some materials. If I can get some durable goods production up and running early, that can offset a lot of the loss of heat stamps. It's actually probably the #1 thing that we could do in order to build up more heat stamps, so it's not a bad plan. The looming cold, yes, it's risen up to a notable level, and that is obviously dangerous for me. I do need to get some more stuff. Let's go for some expansions, right? Plan this out carefully and set up a new district over here. I need to get these expansions early on because I do want to get myself one of those research hubs. I know this may not be the most efficient placement for some of these districts. They make me kind of cringe a little bit on the inside, to be honest, but it's what I'm going with for the moment. So let's go ahead and get that research going. That's obviously going to be extremely important. I do think I'll go ahead and build up one of these industrial districts ASAP. I know we have a surplus materials we can pull from. Just go ahead and start producing whatever goods we can. And now we definitely want to get the coal, so something like this should be fine, and then we'll be able to do one expansion and pick up all the coal into one nice district. Okay, that's going to be very efficient for a long, long time, and if I can unlock the unlimited source, this district will always be useful. That said, let's also go up here and plan on clearing out what remains for this logistics hub area, because I definitely want to do that exploring. We got to be careful, though. I've got a very limited amount of workforce, but that's one of the reasons exploring can be so good, right? A pretty small amount of workforce can produce a lot of extra goods back home. Research Institute is done. What is going to be our first priorities? We're going to have to be careful in this particular game because I don't want to focus too much on one cornerstone at the detriment of the others, because that will eventually trigger a civil war. We're going to have to be fairly even in how we do things. I don't need the housing insulation yet, Generator upgrade, I don't need that yet either. Coal mines, we will need, but that can wait. We may want to go for the sawmills to start. Hothouses for sure, and then eventually things like the factories. I think that could be pretty good for us. If I go for the foragers, I do not use nearly as much demand and I get more materials for the same number of workers. This is going to be one problem for us where I only have access to adaptation right off the bat. So when we eventually get a progress faction, I may have to backtrack and rebuild a few things in different ways. We'll see. I don't know. I'm a little worried I'm going to go too heavy in the adaptation cornerstone just because that's my only real option. Does that make sense? Hopefully it makes sense. Let's go to... I could do the durable goods. I'm actually not going to do that yet. We can afford to wait one more round. I want to do community service. We could go for the city development effort and get the prefab production. I think it only gets me 4 extra prefabs per week, which does add up. Or we could go for service exemptions and get heat stamps. I'm pretty sure that heat stamps are going to be a larger problem for us, but either one of these would be acceptable. And it does pass easily. Excellent. I was a little bit worried about that. Seemed like a 50-50. So now we're going to be up to, I'm hoping, about 9, not quite 9 heat stamps per week. Doesn't get me an absolute ton. It'll get better over time. It will. Let's go over here and swap this over to getting the goods. That should bring me up to 10 heat stamps per week. Okay, we're getting somewhere. It also should help reduce crime a little bit. I am going to need to get things like an extraction district for my materials, so let's plan on that. And we also will need to get ourselves some food, but again, I'm out of prefabs for that one. When in a pinch, it is okay to swap away from goods to get some prefabs if that helps us get past a bottleneck and start constructing things. We'll see. Cutthroat economy. So right now, we could reduce how many heat stamps we get from paid essentials, and I think it offsets the damage that is going to be done by merit a little bit. If I'm going to avoid a civil war, I almost feel like I have to do this. I don't want to, though. I think I need the heat stamps. We're going to have to accept a little bit of more extremism there. It's good to temper things wherever we can, but in this case, I really don't think that's going to be an option for us. All right, so we've got this extraction district up and a-running, looking good. Sawmills are taking too long. We're going to go ahead and do some rush of the researchers. And I'm probably going to do this, like, all the time. It reduces trust by a lot, which is terrible, but it lets us get through the idea tree a heck of a lot faster. In fact, if I could get myself a second one of these, I'd love to, but it does cost me a pretty decent amount of heat stamps for every one of these research institutes that we build. And at some point, honestly, we'll be researching faster than I can generate heat stamps to pay for new ideas. So it's just not going to be worth it, I don't think. Do we want to go for the hothouses next? I think the answer is probably yes. This is usually a good idea, so let's get the bio-waste hothouse up and running. New laws are available. We want to go for the durable goods. I did promise that we would do this, and I think it's still quite good for us. Which, again, does pass, so this is going to reduce our goods consumption by a lot. Trust rises. Okay, now we're only at -20, so this brings me up to 11 heat stamps per week. Over here, it's time to build up our logistics district, so let's do that next. And get some of our workforce out and exploring the world. Can we afford to build up an untreated sawmill right now? We could. Would cost me all of my remaining prefabs. Is this the highest priority right now? Maybe. Yeah, it's reasonable. Let's go ahead and do that. Am I still doing overdrive on this, by the way? Yes, let's go ahead and turn that off. So I'm still in the positive for coal. Not by much, but I am. So that for at least the moment, now it's in the negative. But that's at least something. So we're kind of breaking even just with what I've got before I do any more expansions, before I even get any mines. But what I do next is really going to be dependent on what I discover in the Frostland, which now we can see. The Frostland is randomized every time. I do not have any idea what resources I'm going to find until we get into it. The plains over here appear to have oil. That could be good. The Sea of Ice over here appears to have coal. That's good. And then the hills up here take 20 teams, and it's dangerous, but more dwellers. More population growth wouldn't be bad. But no, we're going to go ahead and start off with this Sea of Ice. Let's find out what is over there. I have got to find some coal, and it looks like we're going to get it. So expanding this actually may not be a high priority. We may not even need to get a coal mine for at least a bit longer. Okay, that is going to be my hothouse. Good. So if I don't need to go for the coal mines immediately, what else could we do? Do we dare go for the factories right off the bat? I think the answer is yes, because not only can this greatly increase my goods output, but also we could get some early prefabs And the extra prefabs is going to help remove one of my big bottlenecks in this game. Normally, though, I would say at this point you want to go for the coal mine because that's the only way you're going to survive once the temperature drops once more. But at least for the moment, we seem to be okay. We definitely do need to get ourselves the food generation, though. Ooh, but I don't have enough people for that. Where can I safely pull back on some workers? Answer is going to be materials. We can pull back there a bit. I need to have 600 workers, I think, in order to get a food district. Yeah. I also need a lot more prefabs. All right, that's actually important enough that I'm willing to swap over to prefabs for a minute. Let's just go ahead and boost this up to 27 per week, and that should take care of it. Good, and now we can go for the goods. And let's start producing some food over here. Wait a minute. Ooh, wait. If I had mined one more spot here, then we would be able to get an expansion over here, and this would be one giant continuous infinite district. Okay, that's probably the way to go if I'm honest. I feel like we have to do that, right? Yeah, let's just go ahead and frost break that. We've got a second. We got a second to make this work. There we go. That gets me my workers back. Food district, boop, 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 boop. One expansion, solve the problem. Okay. Now, I don't have enough workers to actually place down a bio-waste hothouse, which still concerns me greatly. This is where maybe it would make sense to go for some childhood laws. Right now, crime is increasing. We have to deal with this anyway if I'm going for a deathless run, because at some point soon, if we don't address this, there will be gangs and people will die. Family apprenticeship would be one way of trying to get some workers to increase, and I desperately need that. But before we do, let's go to the lords, make a promise. Yeah, family apprenticeship. I'm going to do this anyway. We might as well get some relations out of them for passing what they are asking for. And with 45 votes, I think the odds of winning this are exceptionally high. We don't need much. There we go. Easy peasy. All right. So how many more workers is that going to get me becomes the new question. Enough for a bio-waste hothouse. Thank God. Okay, so that at least is something. Now, the temperature's about to drop. We could go for the coal mine. I think I'm going to go for the housing insulation. It's the same for everybody. Who would benefit from this? Probably the thinkers. They're not getting a lot of love right now. Let's just go ahead and do this on their behalf. So we shouldn't need any heat for any of my housing because of the way that I've set this up. As ugly as it is, I'm leaving room for some hubs in the future, and it's still not costing me any heat yet. But that's about to change once the temperature drops in just a few weeks. So it is worth getting the insulation now just so I don't have to burn through any extra coal. Bio-waste hothouse is going to be going up next. Let's place that here. And I've only got 2 weeks of food remaining. So yeah, this was getting a little bit on the close side, uncomfortably so. But we'll be okay. All right, so what do we discover over here? Please tell me we got something good. We found 400 coal. Yes, that's plenty. Okay, good. And then over here, a pilotless dirigible. We could take a core. Yeah, sure, might as well do that. That seems fine. And let's go ahead and connect up some trails if I've got... I don't think I actually have the money for this, do I? No, I do not. Okay. We're gonna have to wait at least a little bit until we get some more, heat stamps. But 400 coal for 10 expedition teams is what we call a really, really good deal. That'll solve my heat issues for the foreseeable future. Oh, I just realized we're also called The City. We should change that. Hang on, let's rename the city. What are we gonna call this? Something English and ridiculous. How about good old-fashioned Darby Hill Montreux? It's something of a meme on this channel at this point. We've used this several times. I don't know, I was just trying to come up with like a ridiculous name once upon a time that sounded vaguely English. And that's what I came up with. And I'll be honest, I like it. It worked. All right, the extra workers right now do me no good in our exploration team. I need to get an expansion. Yeah, if I can get one expansion for my logistics hub, we would be able to get some extra teams. So let's do that as soon as I've got enough money. If I can get 10, we can start exploring the plains and find out what our oil situation is looking like. And yeah, by the way, there's my coal situation. Look at that, plus 330. Absolutely excellent. By the way, it is now week 50. Guess what that means? It means it's time to beg for more money. I gotta wait 6 days. Wait 1 week, and then we shall beg for more money. Raise some over here. We can raise some over here. Why would the forgers not give me any? There we go. All right, that's enough money to at least keep some things going. Let's go back to research. What do I want next? So I don't think I need the coal mine at all. Not for a bit. We've got the factories. We've got the outhouses. We've got all this. That's the basics taken care of. We could do things like worker shifts. That would reduce the demand. No, that's not going to get me more workers. That's what I really need. We can't do work compensation. We don't have any community capable of learning about this, really. I don't need society. We could do dutiful youth or liberated youth, but I think dutiful youth might be better. Do this, and this would also boost up my workforce. We could use an active ability, and this would get me a lot of emergency workers to boost up my economy. Yeah, I feel like maybe that's a way to go. Alternatively, we go for more stuff in the Frostlands, try to get things like scout headquarters, and also logistics base. We have a lot more teams, but until I get more workers, that doesn't actually do me a lot of good anyway. So yeah, we're gonna do dutiful youth, though once again, let's just see if that's something I can do here. Yep, promise to research dutiful youth. Might as well get extra value out of it. We do need to pass a law on outsiders for sure. Okay, let's go ahead and set some rules for entry. Council, we need to decide how we're gonna handle this. So if I accept all outsiders, we get a lot of extra population, which is really important right now. If we do a productive outsiders, we get more workers over time, a smaller amount of population growth, and we get heat stamps per capita. I think at the beginning, maybe we want to welcome all outsiders. Maybe. Because once I have a lot of workers, what I could do is just go ahead and start swapping over to allowing the productive outsiders, and then over time we get this extra benefit. I think this might actually pay off. The heat stamps are the main thing that's preventing me from clicking this immediately here. Like, I really want to go for this, but I think we have to go for accept all outsiders. We also need to make sure that we balance out things like merit and equality, and this is just one case where we need to do that. And that is going to pass by the exact number of votes that we need. Okay. So by doing that, where trust goes up, we are not far away from getting a population growth anyway. This does put some pressure on me in the sense that extra population means more mouths to feed, blah, blah, blah. But if I don't have enough workers, we aren't going to be able to keep up anyway. So to me, it still kind of makes sense. I definitely want to get that salvaging factory. We said we want the prefabs and the goods. If I could get into the positive on goods, that honestly would be a big deal right about now. It'd be a very, very big deal. Okay. Do we need to do any frost breaking? I don't even have enough people to do frost breaking right now, so this is just where we're at for a bit. Until the population grows, which is coming up soon, there's not much I can do. Tell you what, we can pull back on the number of people working in the logistics district just so I can spend this time wisely and start extracting a bit more stuff. Let's go ahead and frost break. Honestly, with this much extra coal, I feel like maybe we could go directly for the next one of these logistics areas. Even though it's going to be exposed to the wind, which means we are going to be losing heat. It's going to be more expensive than usual, but I've got more coal than usual, therefore, it might well be worth it. Maybe. Maybe. Aha! And the Ice Bloods just formed as our radical faction. Okay. So we got extreme adaptation people, merit and tradition. Not bad. Okay. I see how this is going to be. That means we're going to get the Technocrats as our opposing faction, which is kind of what I was hoping for, because did you guys know that I'm actually in the game? It's true. I am actually in the game. I am one of the Technocrat delegates that is going to meet in the council. So by seeing the Technocrats, there is a chance that we're going to see me. Not a guarantee, but it's possible. By the way, Ice Bloods, you could lead volunteer expeditions. That actually would be quite good for us. I probably want to wait on raising funds until we have done that. And a whole bunch more people just joined in. Okay, so we've got our population growth. That's good. Do we have any other laws that would make a lot of sense right now? Answer, yes, the forged additives right here would actually be quite good for us. That pairs up well with the adaptation version of the hothouse, so we'll get a synergy effect at some point. If you went down progress, you want to go for the progress law to go along with that as well. But this should end up being nice. Eventually, we'll get that pop up. Still not getting enough food right now, so our hunger is going up. It's not atrocious, but it's not good. Okay, we do have the dutiful youth as a law option. We definitely do want to pass that. What else would make sense now? What else? I guess now we could go for work compensation, efficiency bonuses. Just production efficiency goes up slightly. Main thing that's great about this, though, is it does eventually lead to the option to have state-run alcohol shops, which means we could get a lot of extra heat stamps that way, too. That said, I feel like maybe we want to be going for things like the Vanguard logistics base and really commit to this whole idea that we are going to be exploring, and that's how we're going to save ourselves in this game. I do have 10 workers currently available. Let's go to the plains, launch the expedition. Icebloods can lead the volunteers, which make them go faster. Then they can give me a little bit of money. And then let's make sure we get that salvaging factory for sure. Never underestimate how important it is that we get the extra prefabs. Never, ever, ever underestimate that. All right, so we're making 71 goods and 11 extra prefabs here per week. So that's going to greatly increase our ability to build out. We now have goods that are getting me up to 14 heat stamps per week. That's not bad. And we can afford to pull back dramatically on our coal production, at least for the moment. In fact, I can actually turn this off entirely. And we're going to. I'm pretty close to getting to my stockpile cap, so I just don't see any reason to spend the resources on this right now. So let's get ourselves probably another one of the logistics districts. We do have to vote for the dutiful youth. Surprisingly, this one's looking a little bit edgy. But between the Icebloods and the Lords, they've got that majority, so that passes. That gets me a fair bit into more workers, right? So that's good. What I really want to do is find a food source out in the Frostlands, because right now we are having a hard time sustaining ourselves just with the amount of food we produce. This is all I've got. I can place down one more hothouse, but, like, that's all the food on this map. So we will definitely be dependent on finding something out in the wild. So we will be exposed to the wind, so be it. Damn the torpedoes, full steam ahead. We found the source of oil. It is located in the graveyard. All right, now we can do all oil-related buildings. So let's see what we got over here. Quite a lot of things, actually. Crashed wagon marks the map with the direction of a huge source of materials. Okay, hold on. There's an actual arrow here? There sure is. It's like a treasure map. All right, so in this direction somewhere is materials. Over here we found a huge source of food, which says it's over here in the hills nearby. Mark the map for a huge source of fuel in the plains. Okay, and then right here, tar pits. So we could send our Frostland teams to start getting oil. I can't use oil, but it never is a bad idea to have a stockpile. That said, I have to feel like the exploration is more important. Let's go to these plains. I would definitely love to create some settlements out of things like this. We only have 8 weeks of this coal remaining. That's actually not as long as you might think. But if we turn this into a settlement with the right tech, we'd be able to get more output, and it would basically be a permanent deposit, which is probably the sort of thing that I'm looking for, isn't it? What would it take for me to get my settlements? I think we have to get generator upgrade level 1, right? And then the generator can roll on anything. If we research these adaptive pumps, I think we could try to go for some early settlements. That might be really stupidly risky. But if it works, it's not stupid, now is it? But what contagion prevention would I want here? Supported quarantine, shelter demand goes up a little bit, not great. I prefer the infectious badge. Tension I can deal with. I think this is what we're gonna do. Icebloods, maybe we can just go ahead and make a promise to you or something. We can build a Vanguard Logistics Bay to make them happy, but that was it, actually. Also, use the youth volunteer duty. Well, I'll make this promise. Sure, that's fine. We're just gonna have to make do with a normal vote, and we win by a pretty good amount. Trust rises in the city. Okay, little tension, not a big deal. Everyone's gonna be healthier. So we said we would build one of these Vanguard Logistics Bays. We will do so. My other 20 teams, where can I go that would be safe right now? This is dangerous, so I don't want to go there. Deadly there, dangerous there, deadly there. Is there anything that's safe? The plains over here, I guess. There's more coal. Not much. It's pretty dangerous out here. And the temperature has dropped. All right, so now we are once again getting into dangerous territory. The generator upgrade with adaptive pumps is done. That does lead to settlement heating. Okay, so with this, we'd be able to get the permanent settlement. Tempting. I think for the moment, though, what I want to do is go for the scout headquarters so that we can get the survivalists and territory threat level is decreased. I think we have to do that, because otherwise I can't make use of all the exploration teams that I've currently got. And I don't really care about building the adaptive pumps right now. Then the generator can run on different heat sources, but I don't have any oil and I don't have any steam. So it just doesn't seem important to me right now. Not yet. Definitely going to need some additional people here soon, though. My population's not keeping up. Underground warehouse. Stockpile limits increased. Not a high priority. Not a bad thing to have, but not a high priority. Let's go ahead and start, I guess, producing some oil? Might as well. Costs a lot to get this trail set up, unfortunately, but it is what it is. And I do want to pass the harvesting funerals here with reason. Research speed slightly increased. Definitely good for me. Which does barely pass. Okay, so we met our word there. Good. We're starting to run out of prefabs. which is one thing that definitely concerns me. We're going to need to get ourselves another industrial zone and some additional factories soon. Again, though, I don't have enough workers, which is a problem. Well, there's the survivalist headquarters. Again, though, I can't build that if I don't have more people. If only we could have discovered some additional folks. I need more people in the city. I need them. Come on, find me your weary. Bring them here. That's fine. Let's go ahead and start working on that settlement furnace. I think that overall, this is going to end up being a very, very potent long-term investment for me. Also, the Icebloods are so happy, they are giving me rallies. Cool! I need a workforce. I like the heat stamps, but I want the workforce. So let's just go ahead and do that for the moment. Make these radicals happy, and you just straight out get a lot of extra benefits. And look at that, it was enough people that I can get the survivalist headquarters. Also, I need to ask for more money, because it's now week 100. So give me cash, please. If I ask you for money, I am a little concerned. Now, I can't do it against you anyway. I think if I lose my too much opinion with the Icebloods, we lose these extra rallies, and I need the workers. So we're just gonna cozy up to the Icebloods for a bit. Don't you even worry about it. Totally fine. Who's worried? It's fine. Oh, we explored the Expanse. Ha! That's a good book series. Can recommend if anyone hasn't read that one. All right, meager coal mine over here. Only 200 coal. That's not as good. Up over here, a model pump jack. Salvage the core or analyze for research. So we could start turning... Well, no, wait. What would this do for me? This would be useful for producing more oil wherever we end up setting a fuel colony, right? So that could be good, for sure. The cores are good too, though. I'm going to come back later because that's not actually a high priority. A landmark that does absolutely nothing. Well, you're too kind. Thank you. Let's just get this survivalist headquarters set up ASAP, and now with 40 exploration teams, we can start looking for more stuff. Where can I find people? Supposedly we can find people in the hills. They ran for the hills. Get them! Bring them back! Also, food over here in this rugged territory. Yes, please, and thank you. Crap, I accidentally just hit the volunteer duty button. I didn't actually mean to do... Okay, well, we have that now. There's some extra workforce. Huzzah! And the technocrats did just form as the opposition party. They're actually very angry with me right now. Yay! Well, tell you what, we're just gonna go ahead and probably promote you. Okay, there we go. Get rid of that fervor. I don't need to deal with that right now, so I don't care if you get some extra members. It's no big deal. I mean, it is a big deal. It's pretty bad, but like, we don't have a lot of choice, I think. And the population just grew a lot more. All right, once you get above 10,000, that's when things like crime and stuff start to become a bit more important, so we gotta pay attention there. The biggest issue is that this is gonna hurt my food production pretty badly. We are also done with the prefabs in this district, so this can now go away. And a whiteout is arriving in 80 weeks! Oh, good! God, I don't feel ready for this at all, and our food is in terrible shape. If I don't get the food figured out, we're all gonna die. Okay, no, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Any other laws that we could pass that would make a big difference? I'm pretty sure we passed everything at this point. We have. So until I unlock anything new, I don't really have any reason to pass laws, aside from just like, you know, granting some agendas and trying to make people happy. Which I can do, especially if the laws that I don't want get rejected. They won't know the difference. Okay, so we have settlement heating. We've also now got the option to head toward melting deep deposits if I had more cores and stuff like that, which obviously I don't. I feel like I almost need to go for the advanced bio-waste hothouses. How many cores do I even have right now? 2. I mean, it might help. It might. What do we have over here, by the way? Huge source of fuel is somewhere. Where's that arrow pointing? I can't easily tell, actually. Where is that oil pointing? I think it's slightly pointing up here toward the Broken Mountains. I think the huge source of fuel is in this direction. For whatever good that's gonna do me. So if I want to create a settlement over here, I need skyways next, huh? Right. Okay. I guess that could be the next thing that we research. Just get the skyways up and a-running? Sure. We're gonna rush the researchers once again, because I feel like I don't have much of a choice. And let's get ourselves some additional industrial districts. Or actually, wait, maybe it'd be better to get myself another salvaging factory instead. Yes, I think it is. There we go. So now making 35 prefabs a week from the factories. That's not bad, and we're in the positive on goods. I can get more materials if I do an expansion over here, which I will. It's food that scares me, man. It is genuinely the food that's scaring me. Growing hunger. Yeah, you don't say. Hopefully that's about to get fixed. We're about to finish exploring some areas in the Frostland. What do we find up here? The Architect. Okay, so we can get some automatons for 400 workforce. That is enough to work one building. Just one. I feel like a core might be better, because I can use a core to get advanced bio hothouses, but 400 workforce can't make me more advanced stuff. So we're going to go ahead and grab that core immediately. A boarding school with 800 thinkers. I will have to take that, sure. And then we're about to discover another area right here. What do we get? Take meat, 25,000 food, and that'll head toward a food colony site, or better to go hungry than support such reckless hunting. Wait, hang on, I need to read this. The hunters were pleased with their catch. They admit that was their last. There were no young bulls and pregnant cows left. No impressive antlers, and will be damned for going empty-handed. So basically, these people just killed all the buffalo. Not literally buffalo, but you get the idea, right, from the Oregon Trail and all that. And we can just, out of, I guess, protest, say, screw it, we're not taking your food. But no, they're already dead. I'm taking the food. Give me the food. The food's important. And a sunken automaton again. 800 workforce this time, though, in exchange for some prefabs. That actually might I think that is worth it. I think it is. So this one we will do. Where else can I explore? Where else can I explore? It's a lot of coal to the north. More people in this sea of ice. Food. I didn't find any meaningful, like, supply of food, which is what I really wanted. Let's go for these hills here. And then I guess we could go to the Sea of Ice. It says that there's something important over here. So we'll just take a look at it. See if there's anything cool. Okay, the skyways are now done. So we could set those up. Harvester hangars is something I never build. Maybe it's not bad. Food output from Frostland harvesting sites. If I had found any, this would get me more food. I don't know. I don't feel like that's really worth it, if I'm honest. Scout training, we could try to reduce territory threat. We will do that later. The freight docks are definitely good. But I'm not worried about that right now either. Oh gosh, what do I want here? I mean, if I went for communal parenthood with the technocrats and the thinkers, that would give me a lot of workers, though population growth would slow down. Alternatively, if I did get these melting points, this would be great, right? Because it would cost me a core. That's not even that expensive, if I'm honest. The squalor is a problem, don't get me wrong, but production efficiency extremely decreased with unlimited sources. Screw it, we're doing it. Screw it, we're doing it! It's fine, it's fine. Oh my god, I'm using up all my coal because the temperature dropped. It's terrible, I hate it. Ah! Oh, it's because we ran out of coal over here. Right, we need to connect some skyways. Can we do this in one hit? Not quite. Close, though. Wait, yes, we can. Right there will work. 1 week, nice and cheap. Get that built. And we have a trust crisis. We do? Why? Why do we have a trust crisis? Hey! No. Everything's fine. This is apparently what I get for accidentally clicking the youth volunteer duty button. My trust is completely obliterated. We don't have a lot of time to do this. Part of the issue is the thinkers are just too strong of a group right now. We're gonna have to make them promises whether I like it or not. Research a teaching hospital? That actually seems like something we could do, yeah. Mostly, though, I think I just need to solve some of the problems within the city. Get rid of the cold, get rid of the disease, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I'm completely out of heat, too. Okay, right. Yeah, I'm producing nowhere near enough coal here. 165. It turns out we were completely, totally dependent on this thing, and I had no idea. Right, well, let's go ahead and create the settlement. So now we're producing coal, right? I could even improve the heating a little bit with some more teams and materials and food, and that would get me even more coal. Do it. That's not enough to solve the problem, but it sure as heck helps. We have access to the deep deposits, so now I could build a bunch of different things. A deep melting drill, yeah. Place this here, we actually would solve a lot of coal problems. We're okay on food at the moment, we're okay on materials. I've got everything I need. So if I just place this over here, this just solves a lot of problems, right? Yes, I think it does. We don't have enough cores to build the upgrade to my generator, which is kind of a problem. We're gonna have to find more and soon, otherwise this new oil I've got is actually completely useless. So you know what, I am gonna take the core from this model pump jack. Forget the whole pump jack stuff. I'm not going to be producing my own oil for a long time. But getting myself more cores so I can get more upgrades, now that makes sense. Also got to get that teaching hospital research so we can make the thinkers happy if we can do that. Oh, my trust just keeps falling. What do we discover over here? Anything useful? A food colony. Well, now. Okay, so the thing, though, is when they say food colony, I believe in Endless Mode, they don't mean like a settlement like we have over here. They mean a literal full-blown colony, and we'd be building another village, like a whole nother town. So, that's more of an investment than I can afford to take on right now as much as I would like this. Interesting to note that there's apparently also infinite material sources here. Plus, it looks like we could set up even more logistics hubs. So that would be one way of getting even more Frostland teams. Fascinating. Found another area down here. We have, oh, thank God, food. Okay. So we can do this now. That solves some food for at least a bit. Trust falls slightly in order to get some heat stamps. Or we could distribute this evenly and get some trust. I'm going to hold off on this for a moment because I might need the emergency trust. I definitely need 3 cores. Holy crap, that's game-changing. Yes. Okay, I have met the demands of the thinkers. I've gotten up to a tolerated level. There we go. Crisis averted. I'm not going to lose the game yet. Ooh, got a little close. And we are now producing 240 coal? That's not as much as I would have expected from the deep melting drill, if I'm completely honest. It's not bad. It's enough, but still not as good as I would have expected. Well, we probably should just go ahead and research the coal mines, to be honest. I do think it might be time for that. We did just get, finally, the synergy for the hothouses with our forged additives. So now local food production just jumped up to 74, but we've only got about 50 weeks to produce enough food to survive a whiteout, and that is nowhere near enough. We need to have at least another food depot that is fully filled up with food. Otherwise, we're not going to make it. Up to the north, what do we discover? A walled-in camp with 2,000 population. Risky, but I'm going to take them because I need it. And more cores. That's more deep drills. That's more settlements. That's more everything. We also discover an icebound leviathan, which means nothing, and another meager coal mine. Not that helpful. Could find some more food and some oil if we go up to the valley, which I'll take. And the Icebloods are now asking for the productive outsiders. Is that worth passing? Honestly, no. I want to. But I'm realizing more and more that, like, I'm getting way too stuck in some very specific paths for my ideology, and if I can't find a way to turn that around, we're constantly going to be having trouble managing all the different factions. I'd rather they all be somewhat positive, but mostly indifferent to me, rather than just, like, constantly against me, or at least have one faction trying to make my life a living hell. Temperature is going up. All right, so this is the calm before the storm. We're now about to run out of materials. We are out of materials, so that's a problem. We've got about 50 weeks before the storm hits us. We're okay-ish on housing. I'm building a hospital to deal with the disease. Our food is rising. Our fuel is rising. We're getting somewhere. These infinite sources are definitely going to be helpful, but the question is it going to be enough? What do we find up over here? A walled camp, 2,000 more population. I'm going to hold off on that for the moment. A core worshiper. A core worshiper? He sits there and worships the core to wait for the great thaw. He's mad. Take the core. I mean, it's hard to say no to taking a free core, right? Yeah, I think we take a core. Just occurred to me, do these people die during the storm? That does happen in some cases. Oh, shoot. All right, take them. 2,000 more population. That's more than I technically need, but you know what? As long as I have enough cores, I actually think that more population can be a net benefit for me right now. And I will actually lose a little bit of trust in order to gain 400 heat stamps. In this case, I think it's worth it. It's less... That was slight? It's gonna slightly fall. That was slight? Good God. Didn't feel very slight to me. All right, fine. Get ourselves another deep melting drill over here. And boom. That will hopefully address a lot of our materials issues. Now, squalor will be going up by a lot because we don't have enough materials. That is partially solved. It's not enough. We're going to need another materials district and another industrial district for sure. So that's what I'm going to do with my remaining new population. We could also consider researching the geothermal plants. But to be honest, Steam is not considered to be that good in this game. So I think I'm going to pass on that for the moment. I would like to get the Pathfinder Scouts researched because then the territory threat level goes down and I'll be able to explore even further. Crap, my population has gone up a lot. We need a lot more housing all of a sudden. Ah, dang it. There we go. Okay, so housing's about to get mostly solved. Food is still in the positive, though not as good as I want it to be. Materials and goods are kind of okay. Not enough workers to go around as usual, though. Up to the north, we find tar pits, more oil. Okay, and then over here, common herd, more food. Yeah, worth it. Let's go ahead and do that next. I've got one more vote I want to get through. By the way, can we just see if I am here anywhere? No, I'm not here right now. Maybe I'm out to recess, or maybe I'm just not one of the characters that matters right now. That's disappointing. Anyway, host a vote. I do think I want to pass the machine-centric shifts. Workforce requirement is decreased. Squalor may go up a little bit, but this could help quite a lot. Especially important since I, once again, am out of workforce. I just never have enough. I literally never have enough. It's not for lack of effort on my part, I promise. Can we afford to get ourselves a food stockpile hub? We can. And we must, because again, I need to stockpile more food than this. We have very little time. And Squalor is officially getting up to a concerning level as well. Great. We did promise to use the youth volunteer activity, so I have to do this to make the lords happy. That loses some trust, but it's not that bad. Politically, we're holding it together. We're okay-ish. So let's negotiate to get these machine-centric shifts. What can I do? What can I do? Build another Vanguard Logistics Bay. You know, with the extra workers you'll give me, I'm okay with that. That does pass, and all of a sudden I have a lot more workers to go with. Okay. I do need to get these filtration towers, but then after that we can focus on a whole bunch of other things now. This is weird, though. I'm intentionally having to research some of the inferior versions of this tech. Like, I don't really want the ventilation tower. I mean, yes, it has less of a workforce requirement, but it takes more heat, and it's not as good against the squalor. And yet, in order to try and give the other cornerstones a slight break here, I've got to take the risk and try to just throw a few bones, even if it's inefficient, and this is how I'm going to try to stave off a civil war. It's not a guarantee, all right? And that's huge for me. And now with an extra factory set up over here, I think we are officially in... Have I not been producing... Oh my god, I've not been producing goods over here this entire time. I was producing prefabs because I expanded the district and it reset this and I didn't even notice. Oh, I hate when that happens. I hate it so much. But okay, the point is, my economy is now looking really quite good across the board. The only thing that is really not looking good enough for me right now is food. And I have very little time before the whiteout hits. But I think I'm going to end this video here, so thank you all very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this and you're looking forward to this series of Endless Mode on Captain Difficulty. If so, I'd ask you hit that like button, leave a comment down below, subscribe, of course, and I will see you guys next time.